Hi, I'm Stacey and welcome to my book Nook. And today we're going to be looking at books on my TBR that are out of my comfort zone. So sorry about the lighting, it is a bit weird. I'm filming a bit later than normal today. So let's go for the first book that is out of my comfort zone on my TBR, which is Bunny by Mona Awad. And the reason why, okay, so it's like a contemporary fiction, and it's about a girl who goes to, I want to say, like a prestigious writing scheme for, I don't even know, I've got it here somewhere. It's a selective MFA program at a university. And she is at first repelled by the rich twee girls, apparently, who call each other Bunny and seem to move and speak as one. But she's gonna go deeper into their world and all the stuff that resides there. This reminds me a bit of Heathers, the musical, and the film. So I liked Heathers, both the film and the musical, but I don't know how much I'm going to like this, because it seems a little bit dark academia to me, which is not my usual thing. I don't tend to enjoy dark academia, although I'm gonna give some more a go, see how that goes. And it's often described as quite odd, quite dark, and it's just not my usual thing. So I have it and I really want to read it because it sounds really interesting, but I have no idea whether I'm going to actually like it or not. So I guess we'll find out. So the next one that I feel is quite out of my comfort zone is Crazy Rich Asians by Kwan. And this is following a woman. It's following New Yorker Rachel Chu as she agrees to spend the summer in Singapore with her boyfriend Nicholas Young. And so he's crazy rich. And it's just following her experience with his relatives. And I'm not the biggest romance reader, and I'm especially not sure how much I enjoy something that's all about family dynamics. Also, this intimidates me because look how small this writing is. Look how small that is. So it does intimidate me. But I do think I'm going to enjoy it. I just need to get myself to read it first, because I think it's going to be really interesting, and I love hearing about different cultures. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, the next one that is out of my comfort zone is another really intimidating one to me. So that one is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Now this is a chunker. Let's see how many pages this one is. This one is 814 pages, and it's big. It's also very compact, and I'm pretty sure it also has some very small writing. But the reason really is because it is the start of a very long, chunky series, and it's also quite a lot of the fantasy that I read nowadays seems to be a lot of female authors. This is a male author. This is also more of a kind of classic fantasy kind of thing. It's really hard to explain what this is about. I did enjoy the TV show that I saw, and it's kind of about these 5 friends. it's about this group of people, and they're kind of being tracked by this woman who thinks one of them is the Dragon Reborn. One or more of them, to be fair, could be the Dragon Reborn. And it's filled with magic, it's a lot of fantasy, so I will enjoy it. But I'm worried a bit about the writing style because it is an older book. I can't remember how old this is. 1990, so it's older than I am. So it might be a bit dated in some ways, and also the written by a man thing. But I do want to read more books by men because I read so many books by women that I just read too many books by women. I need to broaden it a little bit. But you know what? I like what I like, so there we go. So yes, the Wheel of Time's whole series is intimidating, but Eye of the World, I've got to start it at some point. And that one is actually on my priority TBR for this year, so hopefully it will happen this year. Okay, so the next one that is out of my comfort zone is It's Horns by Joe Hill. So this follows a young man who suddenly grows horns, and he is kind of blamed for the death of his girlfriend, I want to say. Yeah, so he's the only suspect in the crime, like in the murder of his girlfriend, and everyone thinks he's guilty, and then he grows horns and develops a terrible new power, so everyone thinks he's even more guilty. And this is a horror, and it's another male author, so that's why I'm unsure about it, and it is very much out of my comfort zone, not only because it's a male author, but it's also, oh, that's pretty. Sorry, got distracted by the pentacle at the bottom. Yeah, and also because it's a horror, because I have not read many horrors, so that is very much out of my comfort zone. Okay, so the next one that I have is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, and I've seen many an adaptation of this, and I always really enjoy the story. But it is very much out of my comfort zone, because I just don't really read classics. Again, it's a male author. My comfort zone is female authors. And it's quite a long one as well. But yeah, what I've written down here is massive classic literature as to why it's out of my comfort zone, and I think that explains everything. I'm not going to do a synopsis because I can't really remember exactly what it's about, and most people know what it's about anyway. So the next one that I think is out of my comfort zone is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. And this is a gorgeous edition. This is the Waterstones edition. It sounds great. So this is about Elizabeth Zott, and she is a chemist, and she's also a daytime cooking show host. And it's going to be very much a feminist book, and it will follow her, I assume, throughout some of her life. So the reason that this is out of my comfort zone is because it's a historical fiction, which generally I don't read a ton of, and quite often don't enjoy. And it almost feels a little bit literary, which I'm trying to get into a bit more, but it's still out of my comfort zone. So that is why. It's not my usual book. But I am really excited to read this because I think I will enjoy it. I don't see why I wouldn't. I think I will. Okay. And the next one is one that a lot of people have read and liked, and a lot of people say that it's not their normal thing, and yet they still love it and give it 5 stars. And it's one that lots of people have read and I have not read yet. And that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And the reason why is, again, because it is historical. And also because it's interview format, which is not something I'd usually read. But I've had a little look at it, and I don't think it's... I don't know. I feel like it'll be fine. But it's definitely out of my comfort zone. I just wouldn't normally read something like this. But everyone seems to love it, and I'm curious about it. So I think I'm gonna give it a go. I am. I'm gonna do it. I think I'll enjoy it, but I really have no idea. The last one that's out of my comfort zone is a Colleen Hoover book, and that book is Verity. And it's out of my comfort zone because, firstly, because it's a Colleen Hoover book, it will involve romance. It's also a thriller, which I don't read loads of. Again, I'm trying to change that a bit. But I said, well, I didn't think I had any interest at all in Colleen Hoover books. But this one is about a woman who goes to Verity's house to kind of, how do I describe this? To finish her last book. And I can't remember whether Verity is still alive or not. I have a feeling she might be, but she can't finish her book. So it's about... And also the person who was writing the book finds... I think she finds another manuscript or something. So it's kind of... It's definitely delving into relationships, and it's very much like a... What is the word for it? Like a family thriller, house thriller. I can't even think what the word is. I'm sure I'll remember it and put it somewhere. But it's very much about like delving deep into their lives. I can't remember the word. Oh, do you know what? I've written it down. So yes, it's out of my comfort zone because it is a domestic thriller. There we go. And there is the potential for spice. I just don't really read spicy books. It just doesn't interest me in the slightest. The last one that I've got on my TBR that I have actually started and I've enjoyed it is Word Perfect by Susie Dent. This is a non-fiction, and it's about words. It's about etymology, and I always really enjoy knowing where words come from and connections to different words, because apparently I'm a massive word nerd. Yeah, so it's out. I've got it on ebook, and I think that it would be better in book format, so I might buy that in book format. Because I think it's one of those things that you have to just kind of read a little bit every now and again to make the most out of it. It's also out of my comfort zone because it's a non-fiction, and I very rarely read non-fictions. Saying that, I have tried to get into biographies a little bit by reading audiobooks of them, because I feel like if I tried to read it normally, I would get bored. But hearing it in the author's voice, hearing them tell their own story, I think, well, it's working well for me at the moment. I'm halfway through it, the one that I'm currently reading. So I think that's pretty good. So that's all the current ones. It's definitely not an exhaustive list of the ones on my TBR that are out of my comfort zone, because I am trying to push my boundaries a bit more. But also, not on my TBR, there's plenty of stuff on Libby that I found. There's a lot of horrors that I want to look into, a lot of male authors, a lot of non-binary authors that I would also like to read from. And also audio format is definitely out of my comfort zone, and that's something else that I can do on Libby. So I think that will be, hopefully, successful. So that's all of the books that are out of my comfort zone. Let me know which books you want to read that are out of your comfort zone, and why. Are they similar to mine, or actually are fantasies out of your comfort zone? I would expect not if you watch this channel. So thank you all for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!